Do you see any contrast in the market in the Europe versus US when it comes to fragmentation or usage of data?
Yeah, there's a big difference. Europe, generally with energy transition, Europe is a couple years ahead of us. And regarding data sharing, there's no difference. They tend to have more centralized direction and governance of the data. That's not to say that the data situation is perfect, but it's much easier to get access to grid data. It's much easier to get access to your own meter data in Europe than it is here.
And last time when we talked, you said, this year the focus will be more on the North American space as well. This is April. Where do you see we are now?
Still have a lot of work to do. Good news. So Hydro Quebec just joined as a member of LF Energy, so that's a North American utility, and that's fantastic. We're really excited to work with them. And we're also talking with other American utilities, but it's still, there's a lot of discovery that needs to be done. Open source is not familiar for many people in utilities. They're used to different kinds of collaboration through traditional standard bodies, IEEE, IEC, ISO, that have been incredibly useful and valuable and continue to be. But are different in open source in terms that they tend to be more closed. They tend to be more top-down planning. Hey, we're going to define a spec that will plan the grid for the next 20 years. Whereas open source is, much more publicly accessible, much more built in the open, and tends to be more nimble and agile. And so I think of those as complementary approaches. And one of my goals is to try to introduce that complementary approach to what utilities tend to be familiar with already. But it's a lot of work. Anybody who's works in utilities in North America, that it's a slow-moving traditional industry. And so we're just going to be patient and keep at it.